Hello everyone, Tom with Capo Fetish. Let's kick off Rocktober with some 60s garage rock album gems. I have several to feature here. Let's kick it off here with Boise, Idaho's Paul Revere and the Raiders. This is their greatest hits album. You know, ridiculous suits aside, these guys had some really great singles. Songs like Just Like Me, just really rocks, has some real punch to it from 1966. Got Steppin' Out. You've got Kicks, which was a huge hit, kind of an anti-drug song. Hungry is another great track, just really some great, gritty vocals from Mark Lindsay. And you got Good Thing. Just a slew of great hits in the mid-60s from Paul Revere and the Raiders. But one of my favorites of theirs, in fact, my favorite single of theirs was a top 5 hit at the start of the Summer of Love in 1967 off their Revolution album. And the song is called Him or Me, What's It Gonna Be? This song kicks ass. I always thought this song was just a real gem of 60s garage rock. I remember back playing in a band in the late 80s. I always wanted to do a cover of this, but the band didn't respond too positive to that request. But again, Paul Revere and the Raiders, fantastic garage rock band from the mid-60s. And Him or Me, What's It Gonna Be is a fantastic song. If you've never heard it, pull it up on YouTube. Another great one is the Troggs. I never had any of their original albums. I think they only had a couple. Sometimes less is more. I think this is a great, fantastic compilation from like the mid-90s, released on Fontana Records, just called The Best of the Troggs. It has 12 songs, all fantastic tracks. Wild Thing, of course, From Home, With a Girl Like You, I Want You, so great. I Can't Control Myself, Gonna Make You, Any Way That You Want Me, Give It to Me, another great one. Night of the Long Grass, that is a really killer track. Love Is All Around, really great ballad from Summer of Love. You Can Cry If You Want To, and ends with Surprise, Surprise, I Need You. This is, again, less is more. Kind of like Meaty Beaty, Big and Bouncy by The Who. I don't think any Who compilation ever compared to that. It was just 14 just stellar tracks, one great track after another. Same thing with this Troggs compilation. And while looking for particular albums for this video, I stumbled upon this old cassette I had lying around in my cassette collection. I think it came out around 1968. Really oddball compilation of the Troggs here. Love Is All Around. Kind of features a wide spectrum of their material, but I think the one I mentioned previously from Fontana is the way to go if you can find that. Of course, another great 60s band, 60s garage band is The Seeds. This is their second album, A Web of Sound. And this has probably my favorite Seeds track on it of all time, Mr. Farmer, with that really cool little organ on it. Some other tracks on here like Pictures and Designs, Trip Maker, I Tell Myself, A Faded Picture, Rollin' Machine. Ends on a very long note here with a song called Up in Her Room on side 2. 14 minutes and 27 seconds, just vamping on the same riff. Kind of like the song Revelation by Love, just kind of keeps going and riffing and ramping and everything. But cool album here by The Seeds, A Web of Sound, their second album. How about More of the Monkees, the Monkees' second album? Yes, they were pop, but they were also garage rock. And I got to tell you, this has some of the best garage rock anthems of the mid-60s. Starting off with She. And I got to tell you, I think Mickey Dolenz is one of the most underrated vocalists of this period, of this mid-60s period. I don't think he gets enough credit. I think his voice really stands out. It's really unique. It has that kind of breathy kind of whisper to it. And he can get growly too, like on I'm Not Your Stepping Stone, which so many people have covered. Even the Sex Pistols covered it. Love that track to this day. Mary Mary, which even Paul Butterfield covered, is on here, written by Mike Nesmith. You've got I'm a Believer, huge number 1 hit. Another one, Look Out, Here Comes Tomorrow, a song written by Neil Diamond, which kind of has that a little bit me, a little bit me, a little bit me, a little bit you kind of vibe. Sometime in the Morning, more of a ballad, sung by Mickey Dolenz. But yeah, I mean, there's just some really cool tracks on here. Of course, there's some turds, but some real great examples of mid-60s garage rock on here with Mickey Dolenz performing really well on these tracks. Another band too, I never had any of their original albums, but again, just like the Troggs compilation I mentioned a little earlier, this is a great 13-song sample of the group Them featuring Van Morrison. This came out, I think, originally in 1987. I bought this sometime in the 90s. And it has just about all the great Them songs on it. Gloria, Stormy Monday, Mystic Eyes, Baby Please Don't Go, Here Comes the Night, My Lonely Sad Eyes. They do a version of I Put a Spell on You. Really, really great, compact, to the point compilation here from Them, featuring Van Morrison in his early days. Really, really fantastic stuff here. Another one is the first album by the group called Nas, featuring Todd Rundgren. I may have featured this in previous videos. This is kind of the combination of great garage rock and psychedelia, a little bit of acid rock. The track Open My Eyes is one of my favorites from this period in music. Just a lot of phasing going on, and kind of has that vibe of The Who's I Can't Explain, that kind of riff. It has the original version of Hello, It's Me, which was on Todd Rundgren's Something Anything album in 1972. Not a perfect album, but there's some real gems on here. And if you've never heard Nas, check this album out. They have a couple other albums. I think I have Nas 2 on cassette or CD, I believe. I've never had Nas 3, if there is one. I believe there is one, Nas 3. But another great example here of 60s garage rock. Another one is the debut from the LA band Music Machine, with lead vocalist Sean Bonnewell, who was really ahead of his time vocally. Real growly voice. Nobody really sounded like him. I think this band was really ahead of their time, almost like 10 years ahead of their time. They didn't last long, just a couple years. Has the huge hit Talk Talk, which is just, incredible. Other great tracks on here like Masculine Intuition. You got The People in Me. Another one called Come On In, which has kind of a Doors vibe before the Doors were even on the scene, with that really cool organ. Of course, everybody's got to do a version of Hey Joe. They do one. It's kind of marginal. They do a version of 96 Tears on here. CC Rider, they do a version of that. They even do Taxman by the Beatles on here. But I think the best tracks are the original tracks here by the Music Machine. Another great one on here is Trouble. Never heard the Music Machine? Pull them up. They are just fantastic. I love Sean Bonnewell's voice. He's fantastic. Of course, we can't leave out a mid-60s garage rock video without the Standells. Here's their first album, Dirty Water. Really cool. There's a single on here that I grew up with. The single was Sometimes Good Guys Don't Wear White. And the flip side, the B-side, was a song called Why Did You Hurt Me? Both excellent tracks. Great 60s garage rock here by the Standells, Dirty Water, on the original Tower record label. And then the third album, probably the last album to feature this kind of sound for this band until many, many years later. I'm talking about the Kinks, the Kink Controversy. This is just chock full of great mid-60s garage rock, released in 1965. This is their last effort before they started experimenting more with, more pop elements and music hall. But on this album, we've got Milk Cow Blues, their version of Milk Cow Blues, with Dave Davies delivering the most high-energy guitar solos in 1965. Very trebly sounding, very high register sounding, almost ear-bleeding at times. Kind of just makes the speakers just shatter a little bit when you crank it up. You've got When I See That Girl of Mine, Got to Get the First Plane Home, the single Till the End of the Day, just classic. Of course, Where Have All the Good Times Gone? One of their great early hits, early tracks. Really wasn't a hit here. It was a hit for Van Halen back in '82. Some calypso kind of stuff. I'm on an Island. The World Keeps Going Round. It's Too Late. You Can't Win. Fantastic Kinks, early Kinks record here from 1965. This is the US version with a different cover. 1965, the Kink Controversy. How about the Sir Douglas Quintet? This is a best of that I have from San Antonio, Texas. Always loved the song Mendocino. Really, really cool with that organ. And then She's About a Mover, their other hit. There's other great tracks on here as well, like Dynamite Woman, Texas Me, At the Crossroads, Down. Really, really unique sounding band. I need to investigate more of their studio albums. I've always loved their sound, so that's something I need to do in the future. So the best of the Sir Douglas Quintet. Another great one is the first one by the Leaves, just titled Hey Joe. As mentioned before, I think this is the best version of Hey Joe of anybody. It just absolutely smokes, it cooks. That guitar, that vocal is just off the charts. There are some other great tracks on here, though. It shows the Leaves are more than just a garage rock band. They write some great ballads as well. There's a song on here called Girl from the East, which is just gorgeous. Great track. There's some bonus tracks on this CD version, the flip side of Hey Joe, the song called Funny Little World, which has kind of a Beatlesque vibe. Of course, they do He Was a Friend of Mine, which the Byrds covered. What else do we have on here? We have Tobacco Road, Back on the Avenue, Be With Me. Not a perfect album, but about half of it is really, really great. This is a CD reissue by One Way Records from the 90s, or maybe it was the late 80s. Great stuff here. Hey Joe by the Leaves. We got to throw in some Stones. Early Stones is great garage rock, and I love the third U.S. release by the Stones, the Rolling Stones Now. This is really raw. This is really raw Stones here in the early days. You've got the songs that you would know, that most people would know, would be Heart of Stone, which was a hit single. You got You Can't Catch Me, Everybody Needs Somebody to Love. You've got What a Shame, Mona, which is great. Down the Road a Piece, Off the Hook, Pain in My Heart, Little Red Rooster, their version's great. Surprise, Surprise. Yeah, this is just prime early Stones right here. The Rolling Stones Now. How about the first 13th Floor Elevators album? Featuring some amplified jug from Tommy Hall. You've got Roky Erickson on vocals and guitar. I like their second album better, Easter Everywhere. That's more kind of psychedelic, but there's some great tracks on here. You're Gonna Miss Me, Roller Coaster, Reverberation, Don't Fall Down, You Don't Know, Kingdom of Heaven, Monkey Island. Sometimes I think that amplified jug's a little over the top. It's just a little too much. I think it's cool. I don't think anybody ever did that really on any album during this period. But it definitely is unique. And great album here. 13th Floor Elevators, The Psychedelic Sounds of, from 1966. Of course, we got to throw some Electric Prunes in here. Their first album, I Had Too Much to Dream Last Night. What an incredible track that is. Really, really, really revolutionary sounding. Psychedelic garage. You got some songs on here that are other great bangers, like Get Me to the World on Time. Really cool stuff. I love this album cover too. This is a re-release and a 180 gram on Reprise Records. It sounds really, really good. It has even the original artwork here on the label. Right here. I always like that when they do the reproductions just to the T. That is fantastic. Another one is The Outsiders. They had a huge hit with Time Don't Let Me. Great hit single. 1966. The album's a little marginal, but it's still cool. I love the cover. They do a lot of covers on here as well. But nothing to write home about. The single's fantastic. Time Won't Let Me from The Outsiders. And then back in 1972, Lenny Kaye released this as a single album, Nuggets. Original artifacts from the first psychedelic era from 1965 to 68. Rhino released this back in the late 90s as a 4 CD disc set. Has just an absolute amazing selection of tunes from, 63 to 67 roughly. So if you've never heard this, I would pick this up if you're into garage rock. This has just everything in the kitchen sink on it. Way more than I mentioned earlier in the video, and it is just chock full of greatness. So there you go, folks. Throw your favorite mid-60s garage rock albums in the comments section. As always, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, just press the subscribe button. It's free. And we'll see you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.